Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really get you the insights you need, cutting through the usual noise. Today, we're doing something a bit different, actually. We're exploring this huge world of enterprise business software, but instead of digging through dense corporate stuff, we're using practice questions from a specific exam. Yeah, you heard that right. Our deep dive today is all about SAP Business Suite, its core parts, its strategy, and our guide. Excerpts from the CVC SBS 2502 exam, practice questions and explanations. So our mission here is pretty straightforward. Unpack SAP Business Suite, figure out what its key modules actually do, and, understand why it's such a big deal in enterprise software. Think of it as your express lane to getting clued up on a system running tons of global businesses.
And using that exam source is pretty smart, actually, because it forces us to look at the really essential stuff. It reminds us this particular exam, it's web-based, but an hour long, maybe 30 questions. And you need, what, a 70% score to pass in English or Japanese? So this framing, it helps us see the practical knowledge SAP thinks is crucial for anyone really working with this suite.
All right, let's get into it then. Let's unpack this. Like you said, the exam questions gives a great map, straight to the core modules making up the SAP Business Suite. So when we think about how a company manages its suppliers, it's purchasing strategically. What's the key SAP piece there?
Okay, that would be SAP SRM, Supplier Relationship Management. And yeah, cost control is part of it, sure, but its real value, I think, is deeper. It's about making procurement more strategic. So it supports not just buying things, but building real collaboration with suppliers, managing contracts properly, even spotting supply chain risks early because you have better visibility. It's about those external partnerships.
Okay, SRM covers the supply side. Makes sense. But once you've got the goods, you need to sell them, right? Manage the people you sell to. How does SAP tackle that, the whole customer relationship thing?
Right. That brings us to SAP CRM, Customer Relationship Management. And what's interesting about SAP CRM, I think, is how deeply it connects with the other modules. That lets you get a genuine, 360-degree view of your customer. It handles everything, customer-facing sales processes, marketing pushes, service after the sale, all of it, which means you can personalize things much better, be more proactive, because all the information is actually connected.
Okay, SRM for suppliers, CRM for customers. What about the actual products? How they're born, made, managed through their whole existence. What's the SAP angle there?
For that, you're looking at SAP PLM, Product Lifecycle Management. And again, it's more than just storing product data. It's really about orchestrating that whole journey. From the first idea, the design, through manufacturing, quality checks, maintenance, and even eventually retiring the product. It's pretty critical for speeding up innovation, making sure you meet regulations, getting products to market faster.
Right, PLM for the product itself. But that product has to move, doesn't it, from the idea to the customer's hands. Which business process is, most tied to the SAP SCM module?
SAP SCM, Supply Chain Management. Yeah, that mainly underpins the whole plan-to-produce flow. Think of it as the big coordinator. It helps businesses with forecasting demand, figuring out where to source materials from, planning production runs, managing warehouses, sorting out transportation logistics, basically ensuring stuff gets made efficiently and arrives where it needs to, when it needs to, optimizing that whole chain.
Makes sense. Suppliers, customers, products, supply chain. Okay. But what about the people, the employees running all this? Which bit of SAP Business Suite looks after the workforce?
That falls under SAP ERP HCM, Human Capital Management. And it's more than just basic employee records and payroll, though it does that too, obviously. It covers a whole range of HR stuff. Talent acquisition, performance reviews, training, development. It's about managing the workforce efficiently and making sure your people strategy lines up with where the business is heading, all within that integrated SAP environment.
Okay, so we've seen these individual modules, SRM, CRM, PLM, SCM, HCM, but you mentioned integration a few times. That feels like the secret sauce, maybe. How do they all actually talk to each other? What ties them together?
Exactly. That's the SAP NetWeaver platform. You can think of it as the technical foundation, the backbone. NetWeaver isn't just like a connector. It's the actual application server and the technology platform providing those really crucial shared services. Things like managing the data consistently, integrating the business processes, giving users a similar look and feel across different applications. It's what lets all those different modules work together like one single system.
Building a big integrated system is one thing, but keeping it up to date, adding new features, that sounds like a nightmare. How does SAP let companies innovate without forcing these massive, disruptive upgrade projects all the time?
That's a really good question. And a major advantage they push, enhancement packages. EHPs, they call them. These let customers pick and choose which new features or innovations they want to turn on selectively. So a business might say, okay, we really need this new logistics function, and they can implement just that bit without a full-blown risky system upgrade. Gives them a lot more flexibility and really cuts down the risk and costs involved in keeping a big SAP system current.
Right, flexibility, that makes sense. Now, SAP is used everywhere, right? Different industries, manufacturing, retail, banks, hospitals, they all have different needs. How does one suite cater to all that variety?
They tackle that with what they call industry solutions, or sometimes tailored enhancements. So instead of forcing everyone into the same mold, they build on the core business suite functions. They add specific processes, maybe different data setups, special reports that are unique to, say, automotive or utilities or the public sector. This means companies get functionalities and sort of best practices that are directly relevant to how their specific industry works.
Okay, so industry specifics on top of the core. If you had to boil it down then, what truly sets SAP Business Suite apart from competitors? What's its, defining feature?
I'd say without a doubt, it's that deep integration across absolutely all business areas. Other systems might bolt things together, sure, but SAP Suite, it was conceived to allow data and processes to flow seamlessly. So like a purchase order created over in procurement, it instantly updates your inventory levels. That then informs your production planning, which then hits the financial reports. It's all connected in one ecosystem. It breaks down those data silos between departments, reduces errors, and gives everyone a single reliable source of truth for business information. It's huge.
Deep integration. Okay. And finally, when a company is thinking about putting in something this big, this comprehensive, what's the big picture? What's the strategic promise SAP is making to them?
A really key strategic goal, and something they emphasize, is ensuring long-term investment protection. What that means is they're providing a platform that's stable, yes, but also scalable. It's designed not just to handle today's operations, but to be robust enough to grow with the business, handle new technologies, adapt to changing business models down the line. It's positioned as this foundational asset that you can rely on for, well, potentially decades.
This deep dive really has been a shortcut to getting informed about a system that's, frankly, critical infrastructure for so many companies.
Yeah, and thinking about that level of integration, all those specialized modules we just talked about, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How might understanding a system this comprehensive change your perspective? How you think about optimizing operations or managing information flow within any large organization, even if they don't use SAP at all. Something to consider.